to record this one. Okay, that is very okay. Now come down here. What we are doing here? This is our once I have called the acquire method, the counter decremented. Okay, decremented. So then after here one more that is what I want to write some code here that is very important. That is what print statement. In this print, I want to know that threading dot current thread. Okay, current thread means which is the current thread. Okay, so by this we can get which is the current executing thread. So why it is giving error here? So one more brace we need to, one more bracket we need to pass here. Now come down here. Okay. After that, so here I have used the, this is okay. Okay, now it's okay. Now this is formatted text I have used here. This formatted text means, so whenever counter decremented, that moment its value will be dynamically incorporated here. Dynamic self counter. What will be the counter value? Suppose if the counter is 5, so that will be decremented by 1. Now the counter value is equal to 4. Okay, so thread number will be taken as the first thread, whatever. So after that, so then afterward, your one somewhat time, some delay, some time delay will be given here. That is for what? Time delay. I told you that time delay for what? 3 or 2 seconds. Let us see. It is seconds. Okay. So why time delay? Time delay means once thread is functioning, executing, that moment somewhat time for delay, sleeping time. So within the time, the thread will be in inactive state. After that, once expiry of this time, thread will be wakes up again and it will be in ready state. After that, it looks for the CPU. Whenever CPU gets, and thread will be executed. So that is somewhat delay time. Okay. So then after that, I want to keep somewhat one type of variable I want to create here. That variable holds some type of string type of data. Suppose my name is here Vasu. It is a string type of data kept here. So now this will be printed by the thread. Okay, print name. So after once it is printed, so then that lock will be released. Lock will be lock dot release. Okay, this is the release method syntax. You accept it. So now come down what happened here. So everything is going somewhat. Try to understand. So now what happened here? Try to understand. Now the lock is released by thread. Okay, the release method, it is the object method of lock class. Object method of, where is our lock class? This is the method of lock class. Release method and acquire both can be accessed by creating the object. Our object is lock. So whenever initially I told you that once object is created, no, so that is unlocked, open. Whenever the thread acquires this method, so lock is closed. Means the resource thread gets the lock, means thread is authenticated to execute these instructions. So now whenever release method means lock is released by the thread, that moment I told you that your counter will be incremented by 1. Your counter will be incremented by 1. So self dot counter, okay, plus equal to 1, plus equal to 1. Okay. Now what happened? Always you need to understand, whenever acquire method called by thread, so that moment what happened, your counter will be decremented. So decremented to -1. So whenever thread releases that method, this release method, counter will be incremented to 1. Okay. Now come down. Now after that, we will take a printout here. That is word. The printout statement for word. This is formatted text within this. Now thread number, counter incremented. So we want to create the counter. No, we want to create the counter here. Incremented to self.counter. Okay. So here thread number will be dynamically, automatically incorporated, added here, and here the counter value. Okay. Now why it is giving error? Error is for what? Why it is making error? Because this is okay. So self.counter. Here we need to pass the parameters. After that, once formatted text with the declared with the quotation marks, it is to be terminated with the quotation marks. Okay. Now, is it okay now? Now, is it okay? Okay, counter is decremented to self.counter. So it is wrong. So you need to declare in flower braces. That's why it is giving error. Okay, now come down here. Okay, what is the problem was here? Print, okay, formatted string, thread number underscore number, as it is counter incremented to self dot counter. Okay, now it is to be terminated with the this one. Okay, now come down here. So now what happened? Try to understand. Now you create the object for the class. Suppose object is equal to TC as per the syntax I have written. What is the syntax to create the object for a class? So object name and then class name. Here I want to create the object for our class thread counter. So first of all, TC is the object. After the class name, thread underscore counter brackets. Now come down. Okay. Now created object created for the class. I told you that this is what your constructor, default constructor, default constructor, default constructor. So here, this is the default constructor because after the class name, I told you that if parentheses are there, that is the special method, default constructor. So here, this is the main constructor. Okay. So I told you that this is the class variable, its initial value 0. This will be updated by whom? By this default constructor. Okay. How? I will explain. We need to pass whatever the value we want to. Suppose if I run this code, what happened? Let us see. It gives some word. Okay, here. Okay. I will, first of all, let me finish the code first. After that, I will explain whatever that. So now object created for this thread counter class. Then after, I want to use for the for loop for what? For here, I in range, except range is for 1 to how many threads? Suppose 10 threads I want to create here. Now you come down here. So it is to be terminated with the colon. Now, so now what happened here? Now we need to create the thread. Okay. Thread is how to create thread. I told you there are two ways in Python to create the threads. One is that by targeting the function or class. Okay. Threading dot thread. This is the syntax. Normally IDE will help us a lot. Now here we need to call that function. What is our function name? Where is our, this is count. We will call this function. So you call this function as count, but so if only function is there, we can call directly count, but it is a count, it is a method, it is part of this class. So we can call this count method with the class object name. Object is equal to tc. So we need to put here tc dot, okay, tc dot count. Then afterward, you need to pass some arguments, okay, that is what arguments in brackets, syntax as per arguments. We need to pass the thread underscore number, okay. Now after that, comma, that is very important. Now you put one more bracket here, that is okay. Thread underscore number, you try to understand that. So now here, for this I, we will pass this thread underscore number. Thread underscore number, okay. Now let us see why it is giving error arguments. So what arguments is not defined? Why arguments are not defined? So here we need to put is equal, okay. That's why. Now come down, thread is created, okay. Now you start the thread. T dot start. T dot start. Okay, now your thread is started. So this much of lengthy code we have written. After that, what will be happened? Whether the counter will be started, whether counter incremented, decremented, we need to check back that. So we will call this one. So what happened here? So it is called what? Some word and has disabled. If you want to re-enable it, okay, no issue. Okay, PowerShell detected that you might be using a screen reader and has disabled this. If you want to enable it, run import module. Yes, okay, no issue. So first of all, try to understand that what is the, you have imported your threading, comma, time modules. That is very important. So if you feel that if it is giving some word import, same you use import time, okay, there's no any issue. Then after you have created the object for this log class, that is very important. Now class is your class is thread counter. Now you need to pass one thing here. Within this counter we need to pass some value. That is what, suppose this, initially your counter is 0, so that will be updated by this your where is your counter, default counter, this is your, okay. So now what happened, let us see now. So cls again, okay, you run this code, but what happened, we need to check back that, that is very t dot start. This is what, this is the mistake we have done here. Start is a method, as I told you that these are the methods of start method and run method. They are the methods of thread class. So always the method must be terminated with the brackets. Okay, now you run this one. What happened here? Let us see, check that. Okay, so if you compile this code, so no issue. Okay, you close this platform VS Code and you run it again. Okay, sometimes they will give errors. VS Code again, I have started the VS Code. So here I want to compile it again. Then let us see what will be happen here. So it is looking somewhat. What is this error? Okay. Okay. So let me check that any code error is here. First of all, let me check that. Okay. This is counter is equal 0 class variable. Okay. Then after your constructor with declare self and counter. This is okay. Self dot counter is equal to counter, and one more function method declared that its name is count. It must have a parameter self. This can be anyone. Your name, my name can be put. Doesn't matter. After that, initially this parameter. After the whatever the parameter, they need to be kept. Okay. This is okay. Now log dot acquire. Here, suppose I want to use somewhat while loop. So that is what very important. Lights check that like true. Why? Because so I want to use somewhat while loop here. Now why it is giving error? This total code must be under while loop black. Okay. So put somewhat margin here, all of them for you adjust them. Okay. Under this total code, it is under a black, while black. Okay. So lock dot release also. So where is that lock dot release? This lock dot release, I think. So if we pass this lock dot release, just where should we pass this? First lock dot acquire. Okay. After while loop lock dot acquire, this is okay. Now okay. Sub dot counter. So this is to be put where? So it is giving error. Hmm. So I want to keep this somewhere. Now this is okay. It's locked out. Means self dot count. That's it. That count. You adjust them first, and then you try to do compile this one. Okay, it is giving still error. Error means code is not being executed. So we need to check back that. Where is that? That is okay. In range. Okay, this is okay. This is okay. See, this is okay now. It is okay. Now here we need to adjust the code in between somewhere. Okay, let us see. Okay. So it is the mistake we are doing here. This is the mistake. Log dot counter. No. Counter will be self dot counter. This is the one mistake. All the acquire methods will be accessed by object. Release method will be accessed by object, but the counter will be called with the self parameter. Okay, self dot counter plus one. Now you check that what happened here. Still it is giving. So now what happened? This if you keep this one, you cut this one, you cut, you put just here. Okay, there is no any issue. Now you come down after that self dot. The counter is decremented, then print statement decremented to this value. You pass some time sleeping time, then after this name and it is printed, lock is released, self dot counter incremented to 1. So now print this one. Now okay. Okay, now this is okay. Now let us check that what is happening here. So but still we are getting errors. It is not being what happened here. Okay. Actually, so you will do one thing. The total code we will use, we will this total code, you copy this total code and run this in, copy this code and open your one more IDE I have, that is your PyCharm Okay, under this PyCharm, you run this code. Okay, that will be one way. Because why? So it is looking somewhat, code is okay, but you close again, you run this again. Sometimes this VS Code, Visual Studio Code, it gives error. Okay, the total code I have copied and I want to keep it in some way, that is called your PyCharm. So under the PyCharm, I want to paste this total code there. I want to check back that. Okay, where is my PyCharm? So in this PyCharm, I want to go for, suppose, where is that? See, there are so many I have used here. Suppose under this, you you remove this code, no issue, delete this code. Is that now you paste that code from paste. So I have pasted the total code from VS Code. In this another ID I have pasted. Now it is, let us try to execute this one. So you run thread state. To run this thread state. What is it stating there? Again, I want to run this thread state. Process finished with exit code 0. So here also the code is not executed. That is the story. So how to so come down here. Let us check that. Is no error counter, initial counter, import threading, import time, log created for threading dot log. That is the right log. Class thread counter, counter is equal to initial value set, def underscore init self counter. So this is okay. Self dot counter is equal to counter. This is right. One more function created, self thread underscore number, while true is equal this true, log dot acquire. This is right.
Sir,
Ma,
sir,
చెప్పం
the lock object is not created.
అమ్మా,
Lock object is not created.
this is the object created, na? Lock, this is the lock object created in this sixth line. So this method, you use this as current underscore thread. Yes, this is okay. This is okay for this line of code. Print threading current underscore thread is okay. Self dot counter decremented. Okay, next, okay, this is okay, decremented to this self dot counter. This is thread underscore number. Okay, this thread underscore number, time dot, somewhat time I have given this to be printed. So log dot release method, counter incremented to 1. Now, so thread number will be taken and incremented to this value. Now this is default constructor created. This is argument passed. Now for loop created. thread underscore in place of I, thread underscore number will be taken. So that thread number will be taken here in range 1 to 10. So now T is equal to thread created, target. Okay, target is equal to tc dot count. That is the right comma arguments and thread underscore number here. That is okay. T dot start. Everything is okay. Code that is to be executed. That is what is happening here. So this is the thread start syntax. So here also that is to be. We have only 10 minutes. Huh? Within this 10 minutes, we need to solve this one.
So can you scroll down?
Yeah. You check back. You check back the code. Current threading dot current print threading dot current thread.
Sir,
Cheppu. Here we need to pass.
sir, adjust the indentation in 37th line.
1 minute. Current underscore thread.
Out of the class.
Where is the? It is to be under.
PC.
Under this. Okay. So it is to be. Yeah, this is the error we have done here. So this object that is to be adjusted to here. Okay. Object to be adjusted.
It's a for loop also, sir.
For loop.
For loop also.
Yeah, you are right. This for loop also it is to be adjusted here. Now next word, this method to be started from where? These both to be started under this for loop. Okay. This is okay. Now target your object created for this is okay. This is okay. Now this is they need to be. We need to adjust under the def. Under the def of counter. Let us see. This is to be adjusted here. Okay. Now I think the code will be executed. Thread counter object has no count. Did you mean counter? No. So tc dot count. Why? The count is tc dot count. I want to call this count. No? So that's okay. But here this is everything is while loop under the total here. Okay. So this this is to be adjusted here. Okay, under the constructor. Okay, let us see. Now it is to be executed. So still
Sir, can you scroll up?
So this is this is scroll up. Amma? 1 minute wait. Okay. And this is okay. Your object created, that is okay. Now this is to be put under this t dot threading tc dot count threading current underscore thread underscore number. This is right. I have written here thread underscore number. Now it is to be. It is attribute error. Thread counter object has no attribute count. Thread counter. Did you mean counter? In which line it is error? Error is where in 13th line, 39 line. 39 line. Where is 39? This is threading dot thread target is equal to tc dot count. Count is not accessible. Why? Function def count. Well, any thread no return thread underscore number. Now sub dot counter. count. So you change this as count. Suppose if it is not count, you suppose add. Then what happens?
Sir, so in 39th line, thread num after comma, remove the comma.
39th line. Where is 39th line? This one.
So last end of the line, remove the comma in.
Target arguments.
Yes, sir.
Arguments. No, if we remove that, it will give error, I think. So, okay, I have removed that one also. Now it is called as add. So there is no any issue. So execute this one. Attribute thread counter object has no attribute add. Why it is feeling? See, that is what. This is the class def and def. We need to do one thing, my dear. So we adjust this one here. Now what we do here now, while this is okay, this is okay. Now I think this will be accessed. Okay, now it is okay. I think it will access. Everything is okay now. I think it will be executed. Now this is the error. Huh? So now try to understand what is happening here. So as I told you that what happened here, this is what first is what first count. Now initially try to understand. So initial thread one is okay started. Thread one started. Counter decremented to 3 because I have passed the value thread counter value that is counter is initially set to 0. Counter initially set to 0. After that I have by the help of the this is where is the counter default constructor. So within the default constructor, I have passed the value 4. This value passed to your this constructor local variable counter. Now local variable is equal to your class variable. Now this 0 will be updated as 4. So whenever the counter is initial value set to 4, so it is decremented to 3. Why? Because here I told you that once this acquire method is called, so it is decremented to 1 minus 1. So initially it is 4, it is decremented to 3. So then what happened? One counter incremented to 4 means counter incremented to 4. Why? Again after that this is this statement printed decremented to value 4, decremented to 3. Okay, so somewhat sleep time. After that this print Vasu printed. Okay, then thread releases the lock. So now incremented to 1. Now counter incremented to 4. Then after this printout statement taken, that is incremented to 4. Okay. So then what? Then what happened? Thread 2 started. That why? Because na why one thread first one thread is being executed. After that another thread is being executed. This is the story of lock class. So I have briefed here in lock class. In synchronization, lock class will be used. Lock class has both the acquire and two methods of that, acquire and release method. In this, by this lock class, we can get the synchronization by only one thread will be executed first. After that, second thread will be permitted. Okay, so like this. So how many threads we have? How many threads in the for loop? I have given range for 10 threads. So 10 threads means last 9 thread because index last 10 will not be taken. So ninth thread counter decremented to 3. and incremented to 4. Again, thread 1 started like this. So, because while loop I have used it here. So, as I told you that counter once this is called acquire method is being called counter decremented whenever your release method is being called counter incremented. By lock class, only one thread will be executed. So in the semaphore, now I want to change this class name as what? Semaphore class. Semaphore, what I told you that for the semaphore, in the semaphore, we need to pass as a count parameter, suppose that is 4. So means semaphore